Well, it is Friday, August 2nd, 2024. Just left the dock at 07:39 on our way to Sault Ste. Marie, St. Mary's River. So there is Pipe Island and the light and range. Just underway about, actually only about 15 minutes ago. Not even that, I don't think. Just starting to come in view. Not visible on this is the oft photographed bow of the ship that somebody had converted into a residence. I imagine Michelle will get a picture of that with her cell phone. A lot of nice homes along the river there. Very affordable, I'm sure, if you want one. Sounds like we're going to encounter the Stuart J. Court probably sooner rather than later. It's not in sight, and our AIS end, our electronics here is inoperative. We're broadcasting but not receiving. So anyway, we got a little deal here to help us out with some traffic. But looking at the ship tracker stuff, looks like he's coming down the river today. Where I don't feel like we've been filming a whole lot of this trip. I'll probably film quite a bit more of this. This is got a lot of twists and turns, and I won't remember any of it, so it'll be nice to have a video record for armchair planning some future winter. Or reminiscence. This is the view off of Sweets Point. Only about a half an hour out of DeTour. And behold, as foretold by Boat Nerd and other miracles of modern science, there is the Stuart J. Court. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the Stuart J. Court. She's a biggie. And that's what reads on the chart as Old Fort St. Joe Point. And just ahead and to the right is the Lime Island Buoy. Sure go for the Max's Ultimate right now.
Eggs and legs.
Eggs and legs. So that is Lime Island to the north of us. Coming up on another bend in the river here before too long. Well, there's a little story behind all that I'll get to here in a minute. So there is Lime Island and the now no longer functioning coal dock. I gather one of the few places you can stop over on the river other than probably some anchorages, backwaters, that sort of thing. Anyway, we're just about to round the bend here. At least an hour ago, probably longer, and I disengaged the autopilot to make the turn, and we lost our steering. So So we've been drifting in the St. Mary's River while I tried to get that corrected. So anyway, I gather that's a pretty neat stop, and there's some stuff to do there. I guess a ghost town. Well, Beans and Nibs over here presented a little bit of a navigational problem for us. They started out kind of over there, and they kept heading toward like they were going to go up the downbound channel. And so when we naturally made our turn for the upbound channel, they got further and further away, and then they decided to come back our direction. But not just our direction, on a collision course, pushing us further and further and further away from the channel. So I finally slowed down, passed behind them, and I no more than started to do that, and they started to turn to port to cut us off. I have no idea what kind of game they're playing. I assume from the crew that it's probably some, that I could see through the binoculars anyway, that it's probably somebody who doesn't really know how to manage the autopilot very well and may be confused as to where the channel is. I don't know. So anyway, slightly ahead to port is the Round Island and Round Island Light. So that's the marker off of Point Unpronounceable, off Rennes or something like that. Another marker up ahead. Markers, I should say, both the port and starboard.
Radio touch-up channel 165, touch-up.
Starting to get a little weedy up here. I don't know if it's floating or growing to the surface. We're still in the channel, so. But that'll probably be our next emergency, is the cooling system will clog up with vegetation. Well, it is 11 a.m. on August 2nd, Friday, August 2nd, 2024, and we're just at a point where the river divides for upbound and downbound traffic. That long straight section we just went through is pretty wide. The channel is narrower, of course, but I wouldn't say it's featureless, but the shore is pretty far away, lined with homes and or farms, and so not a whole lot to look at through there. And then this gets pretty narrow through here, it looks like. So we talked to a couple of people about the traffic in the channel here and everything, and nobody seemed very concerned about it. I had two major concerns up here: having a mechanical failure and competing for narrow water with a ship. And well, and of course that's no competition. We know who's going to win that. So the mechanical failure I really hoped we wouldn't have. We had within a few miles of leaving the marina this morning. Anyway, we got it figured out. So we are now in that channel. We're coming up on Muniscong Lake or something like that, Muniscong Lake, and it's really wide out here. Even outside of the channel, it looks like the water's fairly deep, 25-ish foot deep, a little deeper in some places, a little shallower in others. So I think if you did encounter a ship through here, you could get a little outside of the channel to let him go by and not probably suffer any dire consequences. There's a really brightly lit range up ahead there. Very obvious. We've got it almost perfectly aligned. I doubt you can see it, but it's right. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, hard to tell on this little screen, but right up in there, just above the pulpit there. So there's the next can, and it's a little deceptive, or next none rather, and there's a can buoy up ahead, but what you're looking at here is this kind of turning basin that widens out, I assume so that ships can make that turn, go up the channel, which we need to do too. So we just rounded Johnson Point, and the channel behind us is closing up to view one very, very swanky Canadian home back there. And I can't say the channel is any narrower here, but the shoreline certainly closed in. A little nicer view. Range over there. And another one up there, again, probably impossible to see on this, but it's kind of right in that area there. I can't tell on this screen either, so we're just lining up on that range. About 11:45. So now about 11:53, and you can see the ranges over there. Michelle just asked about them. I've been talking about them, but I guess she didn't realize what I was talking about. So, but we just made the turn into wherever the hell we're at now. I guess we're still in that Muniscong channel. So coming up on the coil point light, or lighted buoy, and it opened up a little bit again. Shoreline's getting a little further away, not as far away and indefinite as it was before, so it's still interesting. Very nice home there too. So yeah, all the houses on the Canadian side look pretty charming. All the ones on the American side look pretty modest. One other thing I noticed is there are ranges to go down this channel, downbound. I assume in case there's a closure on the downbound channel, you can use this one. I know there's some sort of, I forget what they call it now, but it's kind of a traffic advisory or traffic control scheme. But the sailboat that was doing some wonky stuff earlier and nearly cut us off, they went up the upbound channel, it looks like. So I don't know if that's cool or not. So the channel got really narrow right there. That's 33 and 34, I think. But once again, looks like if you had to get out of the channel to get out of the way of a ship, you got between 9 and 12 feet of water there. So we're at the next bend at Harwood Point, and a little tricky for ships, I think. Got ranges all over the place, some for upbound and some for downbound. It's about noon 17 right now. So we're in what's on the chart called the Middle Nebish Channel, and a little bit of current here, it looks like. It shaved nearly a knot and a half off our speed. Other than that, not much to report, other than it's a little confined in here. Got all these little islands and rocks. Probably won't show up on this, but you can see the current passing the buoy there. So coming up on day marks 61 and 62, and like a little earlier today, if you're not paying attention to your position on a chart, visually it could be a little confusing. It looks like green markers are on the wrong side of the channel, but once you get a little bit closer, you realize that it's kind of an optical illusion. And just after that last bend. We're now on Lake Nicolet, and the two channels converge again in about 4 miles, a little under 4 miles, 3 3.75 rather. So you got Nunbuoy and Daymark 78 and 80 respectively over here, and it's right at the north end of Lake Nicolet, and the convergence of the upbound and downbound channels, or divergence if you're downbound. And I didn't time it. I haven't timed any of these really, but it's 120. So just passing Nun 90. So it's about 2:20, and we're just about 25 minutes away from the marina in Sault Ste. Marie. We're coming up on a ferry crossing. Kind of lost track of the specific point, but we're getting really close. I've been amazed at how little commercial and pleasure traffic we've seen today until we got here. There's been a whole bunch of boats going by. In fact, we had a couple coming down channel towards us. We were watching them, and because our visibility is so poor backwards, I hardly ever look back because I have to contort myself to see under the dink, and some big old 65 or 70 foot trawler cabin cruiser thing went right past us up on a semi-plane through a huge wake. Absolute perfect hole. Yep. Absolute perfect hole. Passed close aboard. Of course, tossed everything around in the cabin. We couldn't get turned away from the wake fast enough to keep from getting rocked and rolled all over the place. Another example of a perfect with more money than sense. So we're at the Daymark number 98, and the ferry we saw is the Sugar Islander 2. Should have figured that out. I see that on AIS all the time. Oop. So probably filming a little too much now, but I keep forgetting to mention that ever since we got off of Lake Nicolet and kind of back into the channel here, the current has been pretty consistently about 1.5 knots. So there's the Bush Plane Museum over there. I imagine we'll have to go through that tomorrow since we're going to spend a day here. And if I ever knew what that large building is over there, I have since forgotten. I think the marina on the American side is over here. The Bellevue Marina we passed already, it's way back there. And the Roberta Bondar Marina, I can't really see it yet, but I think it's probably up in here somewhere.
Ed, and he's going to meet us out there. He'll be on a blue shirt.
Oh, okay, great. Well, there's all that up there, and you can see the rapids there. With the naked eye, I doubt it on this. It is Friday, August 2nd, 2024. We just motored up the river today, and we are in Canada, getting ready to head out onto Lake Superior. And had a little trouble on the river today. That's a story for another time. Had drama.